Hi guys, thanks for tuning in again. My name is Kristen Method. I'm the 9th grade algebra teacher at KIPP Northeast Denver Leadership Academy. My email is kmethod, METHERD at kippcolorado.org. So if you ever want to reach out, shoot me an email, give me some feedback, I would love to hear from you. Again, quick plug, the interims are listed, are posted under KippShare, so please take the interims. If you have any feedback, see any errors, or would like to share some concerns, please shoot me an email and I would love to talk with you about that because I will be editing the interims this fall. Today's purpose of our video is we're going to identify CCRS standards and different question types from the 9th grade interim 1. We're going to look and see how these standards can be integrated into the curriculum, specifically Eureka Algebra Module 1. Cool. So I have with me the interim, and then I also printed off the interim map. So if you're not too familiar with the interim map, the interim standards map lists all the questions. It lists all of the correct answers. In addition, it lists the CCRS standard number and then the actual standard itself. So how I go about doing this process is I flip through the interim and I'm making note of similar question types. And then I'm seeing what standards are those questions. So when I flipped through this interim, I noticed that there were quite a few questions on polynomials. In particular, the polynomials are questions 12, 32, 41, and 44. Another kind of obvious question type that I noticed were questions about equations. Those questions specifically were 11, 40, 48, and 56. So these were pretty obviously apparent to me. In particular, these stood out because I know that in Eureka Module 1, polynomials are covered in lessons, I think 8 and 9 explicitly. Equations are covered explicitly in Module 1, Lesson 12 and 13. So there are going to be a lot of places to infuse these CCRS standards with those Eureka modules. So then I went to my standard map and I thought to look to see for the specific questions and what standards they are. So for example, question 12 did deal with polynomials. It involved substituting whole numbers. So that was standard A301. And then just to move us through this process, I looked through the other ones and I saw A505, A404, and A402. So when I'm teaching my lesson on polynomials, I'm going to reference these interim questions. And more importantly, I'm going to take a look at these standards and see what these standards entail, make sure I'm covering them while I'm teaching the Eureka lesson. When I take a look at my equation, question number 11 was A202. And then the other standards covered here could be A403 and AF502. So again, to kind of sum this process up, I looked through the interim. I noticed equations were kind of a big bucket topic. The questions on the interim that involved equations were numbers 11, 40, 48, and 56. I then went to my standards map and I found out what standards those were. In this case, that's A202, A403, AF502. When I am teaching my Eureka lessons on equations, which in particular is Module 1, Lessons 12, 13, I know that I want to incorporate these skills. There's another bucket from interim 1 that might not be so obvious. Polynomials and equations jumped out at me right away. But the other topic that I noticed were 2 variable equations. In particular, there were quite a few questions about slope. The questions about slope were question numbers 42, 45, 49, and 50. Those standards from my standard map came from A406, which is Exhibit Knowledge of Slope, and 406, which is about locating points on a coordinate plane. So now when I teach, I believe it's lesson 20 on two variable equations, I know that it would be a great spot to weave in information about slope. Now, if you would like to know how to write more questions on the KipShare website, you can download a document on ACT question stems. You can find your standard, and then you can find questions, question stems that we've seen on previous ACTs. So again, flip through the interim, take the interim, flip through, group questions, find their standards, and figure out where those best integrate within the module. Again, quick for module 1, interim 1, polynomials, equations, two variable equations, specifically slope. My name is Kristen Method. If you have any questions or feedback, please reach out. Method, METHERD @kipcolorado.org. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.